Hi, I'm Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my sewing room. You can follow me on Instagram at Bonnie Log Cabin Stitcher. Disclaimer before we even start, I don't think I've been on Instagram for a week or two. I've had a lot of stuff going on here at the house, and I didn't fall asleep till 4 o'clock this morning, so I'm tired, and I just did a test video just to make sure the sound was gone, and I stood there and I thought, I forgot what my YouTube channel name was, so we'll see how this goes. I have to go to work soon, so I'll be watching the clock, but I've got my table laid out and I miss you guys. So here we go. I had a lot of finishes. We have all these fun things to share with you. I knew I was going to be home one evening and I was in the mood to finish. I'm really wanting to get things completed and finished right now because it helps me feel more organized. It helps me feel a little bit control in a world and a nation that is out of control, and in my household, which is out of control because we've been in our house 35 years, I think now, and we have stuff everywhere. And I've been on a mission, probably since we moved in, to get things organized. So finishing up was just, it fit the bill for me. So did a lot of YouTube watching. So here we go. We'll just see how much we get done, and if I need to do another video later, I'll do another video. But I just was so excited about sharing these things, and many of them, well, here, we'll just start. So I'll get my little basket out and just show you. So things that are older. This is very old, I call it NeedlePunch. I know most people call it punch needle, but I'm just special that way. So Peace on Earth, it was supposed to be done on a hornbook. I'm not a hornbook kind of girl. So this is how I finished it. And I love to match. I love to showcase fabrics. I usually have very small pieces of fabric, so I did this one. And I did it in the Valentine. So probably called for, I don't know, because I bet I did it, oh my goodness, 15, maybe 20 years ago. I did this a long time ago. I was trying to remember what I was going through in life at that time. And I think it was, no. It really doesn't matter, does it? But now I've got this going in my head. It was about 13 years ago. Okay, so not that old. I'm not going to take this out of the case because otherwise it'll take forever. So this is still available on Brenda Gervais' website on Country Stitches Online. So a fully finished. And I am in the mood for pillows right now. So little pillows. So this will just sit because I don't have a lot of nails on the wall in the front room and in our kitchen dining area. So I want to just do setting around kind of things, and I love playing with these. So love how that turned out. And I'm going to share with you things that I found out on how I can do it tight and firm. And then when I did this, it was on the monk's cloth or weaver's cloth. And so I just stitched very slowly to keep that shape around the edge. But I needed to put this finishing on it because there was only 2 lines of the NeedlePunch edging, because of course it wasn't going to be a pillow. And so it just needed that dressing up. So the chenille, and the chenille I wanted to show you because I'm slowly gathering finishing. But it is the Lady Dot Creates, it's Bird Nest, and it is the little bit larger size of the chenille. So these are my colors because I like the primitive. So one finish there, then the next one, very similar. I had this, and I keep wanting to stretch it because you can see it's kind of wonky, but this is my flag girl. So all of these I finished after Independence Day. But I thought, well, next year, here we go. And something very fun, I'm looking right now at it. 4th of July weekend, my husband, we had been wanting to get a flagpole. We have a lot of neighbors putting their American flags up and just honoring our flag, our history, our founding, our Constitution, our godly heritage. Everything goes into that. We ordered a flagpole and a flag on Independence Day weekend, and it came in. We got it installed. It is up. It has a solar light coming down and a solar light going up. And I come home and I see that flag, or I see it as I'm walking out, and I stand taller. I am so proud of the founding of our country. I am so proud of the true history of our country and how God blessed America, which without God's blessing, we would not be here. So all of that is why I have all these 4th of July finishes. This was done at that same time I did the Christmas one. This one I did not use a Valdani. This was probably just DMC or Anchor, but beautiful, still available. And this one's called Flag Day. Another Brenda Gervais, so I have seen it on her site, so you can still do it too. And again, I wanted to showcase one of my favorite fabrics I've used in many quilts, which is now coming to an end. And this was really wonky, and I had trimmed it down to about a 1/2 inch. So there was no way that I could do anything with it. So it is what it is. And I just stitched very carefully along that edge. I did it very slowly to make sure I could get it as straight of a line as I could. And the finishing that I do is a very small stitch at the bottom. I have some stitches, yes, that are showing, but I got a lot of practice one night and the next day finishing. So a little wonky, but again, I am too. Then, oh my goodness, so my finishes for next year's Independence Day are going to be a lot. Now, this one is Pride and Glory. It was back in stock last time I checked on Threadwork Primitives. So this one is my finished. I did totally convert it, and I will put that conversion, I'll copy and paste it from my last video and put it in. So I really, this is one of my favorite fabrics of reds. So I really am enjoying how I can showcase my little bits of fabrics. I wanted to show you something else. This one I trimmed at 3/4 inch. Other ones that I have that I'll show you, I did at a 1/2 inch. Personally, I am finding, and I wanted to just try something different. I like a 1/2 inch trim, and I do a scant 1/4 inch as I sew it around. So those of you who quilt know that a scant 1/4 inch is almost under a 1/4 inch. And I use a very thin thread. I use an Aurifil 50 weight. I am going to be changing probably to Aurifil 40 weight, just because I want to make sure my quilts stay strong and stay together. So I use a very thin thread. So that's how I do it. But it does make it so it's really just barely of a 1/4 inch that I'm doing the seam allowance. But again, I'm just getting practice on that bottom, and I am filling them as tight as I can. And I will show you a couple of the tools that I've been using. Vonna talked about using chopsticks to help get that polyfill in the edges. I don't shove this into the corner. I use another tool, but this just helps. And as I'm doing it, because I want it firm, these are the ones I'm trying. Some firm, I'll do some looser. This was just where I was wanting it firm. So I hold it as I'm stuffing it. I hold it in shape. And then if I'm looking and I feel I need to get an edge, I'm working on it not being lumpy bumpy. So if I feel this is not a plastic one, it is actually a bamboo one, and it doesn't have a finish. So it has some friction. And I bought a whole set of these years ago. But I can go in there and I make as small of an opening as I can, and I go backwards and forwards to reinforce that opening. So as I'm stuffing it, it's not opening up more, and I try to stretch it out as little as possible. I do have thinner fingers than usual. I'm very tall, but I do have thinner fingers, or narrower fingers, smaller bones. That's what it is, smaller bones. So I'm stuffing it. I usually try to do a 2 inch or at the most 2.5 inch opening. So that's what I'm doing. I'm tucking it in as much as I can go, trying to reinforce those corners as Vonna showed us. And here's the other tool. I saw this the other day. It's called a point turner. This is plastic. So as I push this in, if it has the polyfill, it has no friction. So I can then get it in a corner, and I go very carefully because I have popped through. but I try not to go through the side where the cross stitch linen is because of the weave is looser. I try to go through the back, and generally I'm using the quilt quality fabric, which is a little bit higher of a quality, maybe the count of the weave is tighter, I think. So it has just a little bit more ability as I'm pushing those corners in. So those are the tips and tricks. I am, until I get cotton filling, I am just using whatever polyfill that I get. And I just bought a ginormous bag with a coupon. That's the size of like a body bag, so it's huge. But that's how I've been doing it, but really holding it firm as I'm stuffing it and watching wonderful YouTube videos. So I will put that conversion in there, but I'm happy with the colors. Just wish it was a little bit tighter on the edges to really, I love this bunting or this tabs that are here. So then the next finish, if we're staying in for the Independence Day, 4th of July, this one is the Country Rustic Primitives. Love their stuff. I had talked about where I used fresco. I'll copy and paste because I think it was just a different linen that I used. This is tea-dyed Osnaburg, and just use the fresco linen, so it's just a little bit lighter. But I have Hopewell, the nude, and see, this is also what I do after I finish it. I want them flat and tight and square is what I'm trying for, rather than pointy corners coming out. So this is one that I did trim at a 1/2 inch, but see, it's funny. It's just like, that little blip is there, but it doesn't matter. It's going to either go in a basket or in a bowl, but this is Glory B. And this was the first one that I finished. And I did use a little square from a charm pack of Hopewell from Joe Morton. I wouldn't put this type of a fabric in a quilt because it's just not my nature to do this, but I thought it was beautiful for a backing. So that is Glory B. And then I'm working on all the holidays. Here we have Valentine. This one I did have a bigger opening because I needed to really stuff it. This one is not as tight because I didn't want to stretch it all out as I was using it. And when I had done this finish, I had shared that this was just a tiny scrap of fabric and it was not as wide. So I did this one with as small as a seam as I could, because when I shared this finish a long time ago, it was with the coffee dyeing that I learned from Christy at Daisy K's Primitives. She has a coffee dyeing video. We'll see if I can remember to put that in when I get back from work. But I loved how the coffee went to the very edge. And so I just wanted to try to keep that as dark as I could around the edge. But I just didn't stuff it as tightly. But this is my Valentine. And again, that is just the last of a very beloved fabric that I have. So Valentine finish, and then here we go. We have an Easter finish or a spring finish. So this I'll do it. I did a whole conversion with this because this is the La Di Da Briar Rabbit, but I had seen it on Pinterest with a light background because I was not attracted to this one. I am not yet into the dark backgrounds on the cross stitch. I'm changing as I go, so I'm sure I will be, but this is a finish. And I will put my conversion, and I did it 2/2 because I think I used a 32 count. And because I really wanted to put it in a frame, but because I did the larger count, it didn't fit in the frame. So I put this together, and at first I was not going to put an edging on it because I really, the thing is, it's funny. If you don't get your corners as lovely as you want them, or if you want to hide the stitching, putting a finishing is awesome. That's what I did on my first pillow tucks because it was an oval, and oh boy, that was a mess. But again, this is a lot of my beloved fabrics that I've had for many years and working to the last pieces of it. So I loved to showcase that. And then this again, Lady Dot Creates, this is Buster Brown hand-dyed lace. So not much. This is the second project that I'm doing this, but I really wanted to bring out this beautiful, I think this was Cindermill brown. I really wanted to showcase this rabbit. I did a color conversion and I had so much trouble on because I loved this dark, dark, dark lettering. I had so much trouble trying to convert, but I liked this light one. This guy I had done so many times, and I'm not happy with how dark it is, but I had picked the colors out so many times that I was afraid I was damaging the linen. So I thought, it is what it is. It is just a dark flower. But again, very pleased that I am getting things finished. And when I did the corner, I overlapped the corner, and I wanted to do things on the bottom. Anything I'm not sure of, I wanted to do it on the bottom so it would hide it. So wouldn't do it up here, but I just overlapped that corner and just stitched on it just to hold it down. So again, another finish. I was so excited. Even as I was working on it late at night, and even as I was getting for bed, I had to put my glasses back on and come in my sewing room and just look at my wonderful finishes. And it helps me feel so much better about having finishes. It gives me confidence that I'm learning new skills. It gives me confidence that I'm not going to have just a bunch of unfinished products. I always stumble over the words, because in our quilt guild, we call it UFOs. And then in the cross stitch world, we call them WIPs. So unfinished objects or works in progress. Either way, they're unfinished, and I want to get them FFO'd. So fabulous, fully finished objects. So that Valentine was another one. Oh, that's not the information, that's the picture. But the information is here. Again, this was not the color. I didn't want to waste my ink on two, because anyway. So that's the Valentine Country Rustic Primitives. I love their stuff, very primitive. Now, my basket's empty. So those are all my fully finishes. Then I had a finish. So this is Christmas Cactus, Called for Linen, Called for Threads, and that is from Deck the Halls. So I'll show you that book in a minute, because right away I started another project in there. So, watching the time, I am going to have to stop before I'm fully finished sharing things. Now, the little, stuff is sliding on the ground. When I had done this as a finish, I used the Whisper, because this tail, I wanted a fluffy tail. It is fluffy. I don't know that it will show, but yes, you can kind of see that it's fluffy. So I did several layers of just a regular thread under there, probably the ecru, just an ecru thread to get some height on there. That would be the right word. Then I have some of these Whispers. So I just used the Whisper. I've had these for a long time. So $2, who knows what they're marked now. This is the Whisper. I do not see any color on there, but it is just an off-white or a cream. So I also have a black that is much fluffier. So that would really be lovely, maybe for a cat, a black cat, or a lamb's face. And then I have another one called Alpaca that I have used for something in the past there. It's when I have a lady there and she has brown hair. This one is Alpaca, and you can see it's more of a, looks like more of a yarn, but it works lovely too. So those are kind of nice just to give those little details. I love details. When I used to work as a woodworker and making decorations, it was all about the details for me, and I loved designing and making things with details. When I do quilts, all about the details. When I do embroidery, same thing. And so now it's in the cross stitch as well, and that's where it kind of showed up with my finishing and the details. So I wanted to show you just the things. I'm just starting to collect my finishing items. I have ribbon from my jewelry time. I have different finishing items, and then also snaps and stuff, just for doing project bags. But I'm working on collecting, so that way when it's midnight and I want to do a finish, I have something there. And because I don't have to buy lots of colors, because I do like the more primitive neutrals, and so I figure if I just have a selection of those, I'm going to be good. This is how I'm going to, this is my, let's see, that Pride and Glory. It was just a piece of the vintage Exemplar fabric, and I love it because of this. It has a little bit of a plum modeling, and then this is I think it was sand that I used on the La Di Da Briar Rabbit. So I will just put a scrap from my scrapbooking paper on there of what it is, the count, the kind. So that way when I go to look and try to decide, I know it's just my record. I've done a video, I think it was in May, just about how I'm trying to keep a record of my linens. But speaking of linens, I'm noticing, because I'm almost a year into returning to cross stitching, but because I have so many other hobbies and I work, I don't have as much stitch time in as I would like to. So I am noticing that linens, different color, different dye lots. So I had shared originally how I adore fox bristle. This is fox and rabbit. And I ordered it from the same place. And so it is simply the nature of dyed fabric. And I've heard this before, but I just wanted to share it with you. This was one that I had purchased, maybe 2 months ago. Then this is one that I just purchased. So this is hog's bristle, the same place that I bought it from, the same dyer, but you can see it's different. But again, it is what it is. It's hand dyed. And so that's where I'm gonna try not to get so hung up on if a chart calls for a specific linen and I can't find it. It just might be that I make myself crazy trying to find it because it's harder to get linens right now from what I've heard. And it may come in very different because I had a legacy, I think that's Picture This Plus 2 that I had purchased months ago. And then when I just got in, very different. So that's where I thought, just chill, find what I like. I have a stash now that I'm comfortable with, and I'll just do it. The other thing that I could do is when I had purchased some fabric or some linens, either at the beginning when I first started or recently, if you buy it online, it's hard to see the colors. The colors were not as dark and primitive as I wanted to. I took care of that. So these are some that I hand dyed, coffee dyed, tea dyed, whatever I was doing that day. I think it was tea. Yep. Oh, now I probably just got lipstick on this one. This one, when it came in, it was Oaken, Picture This Plus, and it was just a little more drastic than I expected. So I tea dyed it. If tea dyed or coffee dyed, one of them. So it got to be a little bit more, less of a difference. So just a little bit darker. So like it better. So just something that I played with. The other one was Fuzzy Sheep that I had purchased, and I'm doing something with this right now. We'll see if I get to show you or not. So Fuzzy Sheep, R&R, I marked it tea dyed, and I like it better. It was lighter, probably a little bit of a yellow. And then here's one that's Witcheled Desert Sand, and it was, I don't even know, it was very stiff. Wasn't really a fan of the whole thing, so I tea dyed it, and as long as I can get those wrinkles out, I really like the colors. So it was fun. I just made my own thing, had fun that day, got a little creative. Now, a purchase that I had made, I've been really working at not purchasing too many charts because I'm feeling I'm never going to live long enough to get all these charts done, and it's been creating more anxiety than pleasure. So I've been kitting them up, or just purchasing the flosses to go with them, because now I pretty much have a good supply of linen. But to make it for free shipping on Hollis Hands Creates, I just wanted to get a new R&R. A lot of people love using R&R, so this one was in stock, and it's vintage homespun. And I love 36 count, so vintage homespun. Looks very much like Winter Brew, just a little bit lighter. I have a project. We'll see if I get to show that to you, because I have to leave in no more than 20 minutes. I want to show you some more finishes though. Oh, I have things laid here to show you. So on the things that I'm working on, and on my finished projects, I use a pressing cloth. When I inherited my mother's quilt table, which you are sitting on right now, don't hurt it, you're sitting on my table. I inherited my mom's pressing cloth. And so it is just a nice thick cloth. And I know that Vonna was really talking about not flattening your stitches by using a pressing cloth and using a padded ironing surface. So a lot of times I will fold this over 4 times and get that very, because I love the details of those crosses of the X's. And I stitch in hoop one-handed, which is a slower process, but I really like that I have full control over those crosses. Again, I think that's why I feel more comfortable stitching in hand and just going a slower process. That's just why I feel more in control. I like to be in control. Let me have a little bit of a drink. There we go. Keep needing to drink more liquids. Okay, I did some more finishing. More project bags. I was counting how many project bags that I have, and I will never have enough project bags because I love doing them. It's like doing a quilt, but it's a lot quicker. This was an orphan block of my mother's, and it was pretty stretched out when I got it. So I was trying to iron it and, you know, not press it to death, but just get it as straight as I could. My last video that I did, so this is number 32, so I did a part 2 of FlossTube number 31, and I showed the details and how, and I used this one as an example because it was just the block on how I like a stiffness. They're stiff. How I did that. So if you're interested in learning about that, check out my last one, please. I sat and I did hand stitching on this. So I wanted to do it like a quilt. I did hand stitching on it, and some of it was funny because this is probably a tester block because my mom was practicing the reverse applique, but she also did it where one of the seams was on top or hand sewn or machine sewn. But this is so my mother. I sent a picture to my sister because it had been a hard day. There was something we were both working through regarding my parents, and my mom has passed away. But it was just an emotional day, and it felt so good to get something of my mother's and finish it. And so I sent a picture to my sister and I said, this is what I did. And she said, oh, that's so Mom. And I said, this is what I was doing as we were working through this hard stuff. And she said, oh, what a good idea. So felt very good. All of these are my mom's fabrics. The backing, I was hoping to have something for an inside that I might have of my mom's scraps, but nothing matched. So I just used that muslin, the unbleached muslin that I had purchased to go with that. So another project bag. And then this is another thing of my mom. So I did it the same day, which it was already going to be in the works, but it just felt good to have my hands on something that I had made for my mother. So as she was declining and with Alzheimer's and not able to do so many of her own projects, I made things for her, and I wanted to have a 5x7 frame. This is one of the things that I made for her. So I had purchased a 5x7 frame, and I gave her the frame with something in it, and then I finished it my hokey way, you know, packing tape at the back, just pulling it over, and then I always put a card on there, taped on there so she could read a letter. And my hope was that every month she would have something to change out. I never got that many things made, but then I inherited those things back again. And sometimes it's just not a happy thought. And so I had this. This was one of the things that I had made for her. This is, again, a NeedlePunch. And I could not find the pattern, so I may have given it away or it's put away somewhere. So I want to say it's a Brenda Gervais, but I don't know that for sure. But it was very light. This was like an ecru DMC that I used as a background. I thought, I was just going to give it away. And then I thought, no, it was the day that I was coffee dyeing or tea dyeing, and I did several rounds of it. And then I think I finally left it in so long, and I did have to put it in the oven because it was so thick. It retained a lot of that moisture. It got really dark, and I thought, woo! So I rinsed it. It got lighter. So it's very, very primatized, but again, something I had made for my mom, and I went to stitch around it, and it shows a little bit. But at that time, it was emotional, and I just thought, I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to get it done, and it's on a project bag. So this one I'm trying different project bags. I've done talking a lot about how I want to try to get the edges. This one I did without a flange because there's enough design on it, and I'm working hard to get those tabs done so they don't get caught in the edge, but this time you can see the lining through that little opening, but I don't need to worry about perfection so much. So this one, it's a little bit wrinkled in there, but just a little bit of fabrics that I just want to use up. So, all right, 10 more minutes. I'm kitting a lot of things up, and I still love, I've done a whole video, I want to say maybe FlossTube number 4. This is how I like to keep my flosses because I travel with them, and we live, it's dusty. It's dusty where we live. So this keeps my flosses clean. These are my overdyes. I have 2 of these, and check out that video, but I get these at Hobby Lobby. There's a lot of different floss away bags and different things, but this matched what I already had, and it was something, excuse me, something that Hobby Lobby had. I want to say it's Yarnology, but I can either choose by color. I could do it backwards, or I can do this where I choose by the name. So I like this. I like that, and that's how I am doing my kitting up. I also have the the X Stitch app where I have my inventory in, but I've noticed that sometimes I don't take the time to put that inventory in, or I have my flosses all over the place. So I've been ordering a lot of flosses, not so many charts, but flosses to keep me busy, because I go through a lot more floss with cross stitch than I ever did with embroidery. All right, now let's see how far I get through some of this stuff. Oh, I wanted to tell you, last night I was working on a project and I wanted country redwood, gentle art. So I just searched Etsy. Usually I like to shop at the same places, and I thought, let's give someone else a try. And so I just searched country redwood gentle arts. I'm going to try not to hurry. And I came to Floss and Fabrics, a different Etsy shop than I had ever shopped at before. And they had the 10-yard skeins of gentle art. So I thought, so I got some stuff, and I did find they have older Blackbird Designs charts. They had one quilt book. I got this a while ago, but this is the quilt book because I know that there's, I'm going to not get off track. There is a quilt along, stitch along with Lori Textilis and Olivia B. And this is, so if you're wanting to be a part of that and get a Blackbird, I know that they had that. It may be available other places too, but I saw it there. Older charts. I bought 2 loose feather charts and lots of flosses. So here we go. I still have some more time. I just had a birthday. You know, as you get older, birthdays are like, oh, I got another birthday coming up. And it was more of a hectic one because I had had a very, very long work night the night before, and I had to finish some stuff in the morning, do some shopping, yada, yada, yada. It was more hectic, and but my husband still celebrated me, and it was fun. And then I got to go up to the cabin that evening, and I had a lot of sugar that day. But it was fun. But I had also, my husband likes when I purchase my own gifts. I do it anyway. I'm just kind of maybe stubborn and ornery and willful. But I told him, I said, oh, look what this is what I got for my birthday. And he goes, I just love it that you buy your birthday gift. So I thought, oh, good. Now I don't have to feel guilty about it. But I'll tell you the story about this later, or I may have time. But the things that I purchased, I made a bag, a special bag for them to go into. So this is this was my very first French general fabric that I purchased. This is a very old fabric. And again, this was the one with my flange. But just to show you, I'm going to do a quilt video, but this is how it shows up in a quilt. And I was going to do this quilt with a border around it, and I was going to use that fabric, but it was wild enough. So I thought, how can I showcase this fabric if I never use it on a border? Project bags are the perfect way to showcase fabric. So this is my birthday bag. So what did I get? I think I may have shown this stuff before, but this is what I've been really enjoying and kitting up, and I did a birthday start. I had to hold myself back. I wanted to start so bad, but I wanted to do, so this is the Ooh La La Blackbird Designs, and I really wanted to do this, but not necessarily, I want to do it as a needle roll, but I also want to do it as a needle book. So as a needle book, I wanted it small, and so I'm doing this on 40 count ale. And I can tell you that day that I was working, and it was later that night after a lot of sugar. Sugar is like poison to me, but oh my goodness, it was so good. So I was stitching it, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I can't hardly see it. And I thought, I am going to finish. I was enjoying the stitch, but it was small, and I thought, it's a lot of work, but I thought, I want this needle book so badly to go in that bag. I'm going to push through, and I did it. So I did it, and I love stitching. That's the first time I've stitched on ale, and I'm doing it with the called for colors, which is baked apple. Then the other project that I want to do is this one, and I had talked about this before. And see, this is why I want to. And I just found the note. Yes, my great grandmother did it. My mom called her Bammy. So this is Bammy's needle point. I want to do this, and I think I'm going to put it in a project, a needle book. So it's probably just going to be the square. So I was kitting it up, and that's where last night I ended up ordering some flosses. But I wanted to see, because this is called for in gingerbread, but of course that looks awfully dark. It looks more like the ale, but I wanted to see, what does it look like? I have a little tiny piece of gingerbread, but I just wanted to see, are these colors? I just pulling one evening, just pulling out my flosses, and yep, I think that's gonna work. So just gathering some more, but that's where I wanted to see, am I gonna like it that dark? Is it even gonna show up? And then I am also kitting up, and I showed, but now I found all the flosses for this one. So this one is, I think it's called A Bit of Spring. So it's this one, which is really why I purchased that book. So now I have the called for light exemplar. Where is that pattern? A Bit of Spring, yes. So that is in there. Oh, a few more minutes. I'll show you my other charts next time, because I have 2 more blackbirds coming in. But this is how I'm kitting it up. So I'll show you some more next time, and maybe I'll even have that needle book done, because I want to make sure I get through this stuff, because I ironed stuff for you, and I'm going to be stitching on that soon. So here we have another thing, because I love my project bags. Now this was one of my very first reps. This is really, when I saw Lori Mischievous Stitches doing this, it's just like, I have all the beggars charts now. So Threadwork Primitives, Beggar's Night. I'm not into white pumpkins. I really love, I like orange pumpkins. See, orange pumpkins are my thing. But because of the colors, I tried something. So this is on Winter Brew, I believe. I couldn't find it. It's written down somewhere. Winter Brew. I'm changing things up, but this is Shaker White, Gentle Arts, and I liked it. But for the saturation of color, this is 36. And I'm doing this 1/1 down here. I like 1/1 on 36. Because of the saturation of color, 2/2. Not so bad with black. This is 2/2, this is 2/2. White, 2/2 on a light fabric. Ooh, that was kind of hard. So it was funny, because I went from that 40 count, I thought, oh, let's do something easier on my eyes. And I was not like bloodshot like I feel like right now. I had rest. Oh no, I'd worked late the night before. Whatever. I was stitching, and I thought, okay, let's do something easier. And I thought, oh, this is not easier, but I was having fun. I thought, oh yep, I like that white. Let's just keep going and keep going. And then I was up really late that night too, stitching, because it was my birthday, and I had a lot of sugar, so that kept me up. But oh, it's delicious. So I stitched on something else, and I thought, oh my word, that was hard too. Whoops, sorry, jiggle. So maybe it was just the sugar in that. But I also need new glasses, and the glasses that I get are expensive. But I want to finish the Beggar's Night, because I want to get this done for Christmas, because I have Beggar's Valentine done. So I want to get those done. Then the other thing, this is an older project bag that I've made and shared much about the details of all this, but what's inside? I'm doing Christmas in July, Jolly July, and so this was the other thing that I pulled out to work on that day. I thought, maybe this will be easier on my eyes. No, it wasn't really, but am I doing, no, okay, so I am doing, this is a different, you don't even know what it is yet because I'm watching and I thought, oh, I gotta leave. So this is Parson Brown and I am doing it darker. So I'm converting it. But I am doing 1/1 because I want it more primitive. But it wasn't easy on my eyes either. But it was fun to stitch. So I'm working on that. Okay, so now we're gonna mow through this because I want to be able to stitch on these soon. So this is a fun, it's a fun project bag. I got it from the Stitched, it's the 2-in-1, but I made it bigger. And eventually when I get the right size dimension that I like, I'll share those dimensions. But this is how I learned how to use the magnetic tab. But look at, see, I like it too because I can get all, I want to do all the projects in Deck the Halls. And so look at how I prepared this for you guys. So Deck the Halls. And I've got all my threads for all the projects, I'm pretty sure. But as soon as I finished Christmas Cactus, I started this right away. So this is, oh, let me pull the book out because it is, Christmas tree? No, this is it. So the first day of Christmas. So I'm going to do it as a flat and I loved it. And I was doing it, and some of the colors, I think because this brown is not as dark as some other browns that have been in the past, the green wasn't showing up. So I'm going to have to do a little conversion. But I like that it's a small. So I ordered a frame because I like the more primitive. So I went on Etsy because Jenny Stitching Simply, really has showed me how shopping Etsy and shopping small is just a great way to go. I found a beautiful oval frame, more primitive, my style, but it's coming from the Ukraine, I think. So I just got to notice that it's shipped and I'll get it sometime in August. I'll wait. But that one's going to go in that frame as well. Okay, this was last night. So did I pull out this project because I love the bag or because I wanted to stitch what's inside of it? We don't know. It just goes together well. And this was why I wanted to order Country Redwood. I better get going. Okay, 2 more things to show you, then I'll be done. Okay, so this is Basket of Cheer, Not Forgotten Farm. I love it. I love her designs, the primitive. So I'm doing a color conversion because this is in DMC. So I'm doing Country Redwood. And I was up late stitching and then I couldn't sleep. So I got up and stitched till about 3:30 this morning. And I got off on 2 different things. And I thought, whatever, I'll fix it or I'll just let it be. But I was stitching instead of tossing and turning. But I love Country Redwood. I love where it's dark and light. And I decided instead of 2, this is 32 count. This is the tea-dyed linen of the fuzzy sheep. 32 count. But I decided instead of 2/2, I wanted that primitive look of 1/2. So enjoying that, and I love the bag. I just kept looking at the bag. Anyway, as I was stuffing those smalls that I showed you, I was watching a lot of different videos because it took hours. And Susan Stanley. I watched several of her videos and I really feel I like to watch Susan when I could really absorb. So I could really absorb what I have a hard time with S's, what she is saying and what she is showing. So sometimes I don't want to cross stitch when I watch her videos because I really want to be able to engage and see and learn. So it was perfect when I was stuffing. That could have been when I went through one of the corners, but that's on me. So she did many videos that I watched that night, but one of them was on peacocks. And it just gave me, it was just like, I was so excited. I thought, I want to stitch on a peacock. So I got this one out. So this is Modern Folk Embroidery, Birds of a Feather. So when I was looking at Christy Daisy K's primitives, I'm one of her groupies, she showed a larger sampler that she was stitching, but it was on a darker linen. I think it was ale that she was showing, but I'm using 40 count cocoa. But it was this DMC, and it's this color, and it's the, it's the 115, but it's a 40 count. But I love the depth of color, and I want them small because I may do smalls or I may do needle books. So again, this happened to be the one that I started. And so I thought, but I didn't get to that this weekend because I was working on my other one. So I want to work on that. And then I was also looking at this book. I can show you the front. This has a lot. It has like pages of peacocks. And I love looking at Stacy Nash's chart. She uses a lot of peacocks, and they're so funky and they're so fun. And Susan Stanley just really got me interested in doing some peacocks. I have more stuff to show you, but it will have to wait. Let me do a very quick, I like to do the good stuff and share with you my faith and my love of Jesus, but I'm going to make it short because I should have left already a few minutes ago. But tough stuff that I'm walking through right now. A lot of people are walking through. So tough stuff in the world, tough stuff in our nation, tough stuff in our state, tough stuff in our life. So, and good stuff too. But how I get through it. So there was a verse that I learned when I was doing classes online. The Lord stood by me and he strengthened me. And so that's what I've been thinking about. And then other things where the Lord holds my breath in his hands. And I know my life is here for the time that the Lord has for me here. I will not die a day earlier or a day later than the day that the Lord has prepared for me to go home and be with him and see my mom. So all those things I hold on to so I don't get wrapped up in a lot of different fears. And so I looked up that verse, and it's in 2 Timothy 4. And I was going to read the whole chapter to you because I was looking at it and I thought, oh, this is so good. This is so good. This is so good. I don't have time for that right now because I really do have to get to work. But this is in 2 Timothy 4, verse 17. But the Lord stood with me and strengthened me. But this is the rest of the verse from Paul, so that the message might be preached fully through me, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And it was also, I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion, and the Lord delivered me from every evil work and preserved me for his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever. So much of it ties into all the thoughts that I've had. And the Lord will preserve me as long as he chooses to. And I hold on to that, and I gain strength from that. And my husband and I talk about that as we're working on supporting our immune system. We will not die any earlier than the Lord has prepared for us. I will not engage in fear. I was working with a client yesterday, and he just happened to say, because I said 2020 was the busiest year I have ever had in my whole career. He said, how did you do that? And I just shared with him, it was a choice. 2 weeks after I was crazy working in the midst of all the panic, I made a mental choice because I almost got in a car accident because I was so freaked out. And I thought, I can't do this. I can either work or I can freak out. I can't do both. And I needed to work. And so I just shared with him what I do. But this is part of it. Part of it is my life is in God's hands. So, and I can go on and on, but I'm going to have to send a text that I'm late to my client. So there you go. God bless you guys. I love you. Thank you.